Hi everyone, thanks for listening in again to InCorp Group's Pro Business Podcast series. I am Eric here, the Chief Business Development Officer of the group, and my co-host Elton, as well as our colleague from our India office, Amit Kothari. Elton, you want to do a self-introduction?
Hi everyone, it's me Elton again. So as Eric mentioned, I'm the colleague of Eric. So I work very closely with Eric as the Deputy Chief Operating Officer of InCorp Group. And basically, we over here are headquartered in Singapore. And today we are very pleased to have Amit on board to talk more about India.
And because we are the main topic is about India, Elton, maybe we'll get Amit to do a self-introduction as well, Amit.
Of course.
Hello everyone, I am Amit Kothari, the co-founder and the head business development at InCorp India. In India, we are headquartered at Mumbai and Bangalore directly, and we also have an indirect presence through our associates at 12 other top cities of India. At InCorp India, we offer end-to-end services right from incorporation, tax and legal compliances, bookkeeping, payroll and HR, assurance, fundraising, and liquidation. Over to you, Eric.
Thank you, Amit. So, for everybody's information again, InCorp Group is a Singapore headquartered group that specializes in providing corporate services as well as business advisory works in 7 countries within South Asia, which of course include India. For more details of what we do and where we operate, please visit www.incorp.asia for more information. So without further ado, Elton, let's start today's podcast episode. And again, we will focus on India as a country as a means of expansion for businesses. So in today's session, we'll actually use a question and answer, a Q&A style format to discuss some of the important points that will include general business outlook of the country and including some stats of the country, key industries that are trending or will do very well for businesses that expand into India, key states or cities that will be suitable for foreign companies to consider, favorable government policies for companies such as incentives, such as tax exemptions, etc. As well as we'll end off with a very brief company setup process options available. So, Amit, maybe let's dwell straight into the first question. Elton, maybe for you to start.
Sure. I mean, given that you have been operating in India for a very long time, all right, and have a lot of experience in advising companies in India, especially from overseas to set up Indian companies, can you just maybe outline the general business outlook of India and maybe give some brief statistics about the population, age, demographics of people there in India?
Surely, Alton. Surely, I'll do that. Happy to do that. So, India, in terms of area, is the 7th largest country in the world. And in terms of economic size, is the 5th largest economy in the world. And in 2019, we also overtook UK and France in terms of nominal GDP. So the nominal GDP of India was $2.94 trillion. As regards population, it's a massive population of 1.36 billion as of date, making it the largest democracy in the world. And we have about 67% of the population in the working age group, that is from the age of 15 to 60 years of age. We have a literacy rate of 69%, and which makes skilled and English speaking employees and labor easily available at a very affordable cost. And this is the biggest advantage that India offers for business. And typically, many foreign companies come to India for outsourcing their several functions to leverage upon this demographic advantage.
I see. Thank you, Amit. So, I mean, we can't get away from the question of COVID. So, now that you have shared a little bit about the general stats of the country, how has COVID affected India? And for companies who are looking to expand into India, is it the right time actually?
So, when the COVID period started, somewhere in the month of March of 2020, considering our population density, we thought that the country would be into some major problem. But government was very proactive, and they did a massive lockdown for a couple of months, and then gradual easing of the lockdown and so on and so forth. So very strong measures were taken, and because of that, we are seeing the fruits now, that the cases are declining steadily, and we are currently at a very I can say a very lower end of the curve. And also the vaccine has been rolled out, so the country is inching towards normalcy, and maybe a couple of months down the line things should be absolutely normal. So we believe that if anybody is planning to come into India and were sitting on the fence because of the COVID, is the right time to get back.
I see. So it seems like the situation is easing and vaccination drive is also ongoing, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Vaccination is on full swing, and other than our country is exporting the vaccines to various countries. So maybe 2 months down the line, things should be absolutely normal.
Sure. Thanks, Amit, for the information. So, given this current situation, and where India, as you mentioned, is trying to return to normalcy, so what are some of the key industries that you think are trending in India, and especially for foreign companies? What are some of these key cities or states that they can look forward to investing in India?
Surely, and Alton, I'll tell you that. So typically, India had always been a very strong and a robust service sector country. It was the global outsourcing hub for many business functions like accounting, or say research, or data analytics, or say customer service support, etc.
So mainly shared services.
Yes, yes. And so it continues to be very strong in the service sector, but we also have very strong capabilities in the IT and the tech sector, and that is predominantly due to availability of skilled professionals. And India is home to many startups in the tech space and even in the fintech space. And also because of this COVID thing and the experience, also the entire world is looking at India as an alternative manufacturing hub, that offers low cost, high quality manufacturing capabilities across various sectors, which could include pharma or specialty chemicals, food and food processing, metals, minerals, OEMs, electronics, automobiles, to name a few. So, in both service as well as manufacturing capabilities, the country is trending well, and there are a lot of government incentives, etc., available for the new companies which are setting up either in the manufacturing or the service sector.
Thank you, Amit. I mean, because India is such a big country, right? I mean, even for myself and Alton, we have visited India a few times, but we understand the scale of the country. So for interested companies out there in the world who's looking at India now or for this year, um, can you maybe just show us the light when in terms of what type of companies should look at which part of India to expand into? Because more often than not, people when they think about India, they only think about Delhi, they think about Mumbai, they think about Bangalore. But are there any other cities other than these three, or in these three, what are the sort of companies that will cater to them?
Correct. So I'll just give you a very interesting statistic, Eric. So India, as I mentioned, a very large country, very diverse country. So India has 436 cities, and about 2,500 towns. And one can actually divide the entire country into 5 zones, north, east, west, south, and the central part of India. So, Mumbai remains the financial capital of the country. So, any companies having businesses of financial services typically has a base in India. The IT and the technology companies and the startups typically choose a smaller city where the cost of operations are on a lower side, and there is plenty of skilled professionals available with the finest infrastructure. So usually, apart from Bangalore now, people are also looking at Hyderabad, Chennai, or even Pune. These are the cost of operations in these cities are really very, very affordable for the IT and the tech companies. If Bangalore appears to be costly for them. And for the manufacturing, so manufacturing typically happens in clusters in each of the zones. So in north, we have cities like the NCR, what we call as a National Capital Region, which comprises of Delhi, Noida, and Ghaziabad, and so on and so forth. Even Chandigarh and Jaipur, very strong, very large cities of India. Similarly, on the west side, you have cities like Ahmedabad, we have Goa, we have Pune, we have New Bombay, which is just on the outskirts of Mumbai, where you have strong infrastructure for manufacturing facilities. On the south, we have Chennai and the outskirts, Hyderabad, phenomenal infrastructure for manufacturing capabilities that have come up over there. In central part of India, we have cities like Indore, Nagpur. Similarly, on east, we have Kolkata, Raipur, Bhubaneswar, to name a few. So, across the length and breadth of this country, you will find places, where you can have operations at an affordable cost. So it's not now only restricted to Mumbai, Delhi, and Bangalore. You have lots of other mega cities coming up.
I see. So it's really quite a lot of options to choose from, and not just the typical cities or well-known cities, I would say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what happens, most of the compliances are now online. So the country, I mean, the entity can be at any part of the country,
Mm,
and, they can have a very smooth business operations.
I see. So maybe another follow-up question, Amit, for manufacturing companies in that sense, where they say they are looking at somewhere in China to do a manufacturing plant, acquire land. So can the entity be, say, set up in Mumbai and with the manufacturing plant to be based outside of Mumbai, as you were saying? It can be done, is it?
Absolutely. It can be done. Absolutely, it can be done. The registered office of the company can be in Mumbai, and they have their plant in anywhere across the country. And that's how typically most of the companies in India operate. So their manufacturing operations are on smaller towns, and the registered office are in the major metros.
I see. Yeah, thanks. I mean, I think that's very useful information,
Mm,
especially, for companies who are looking at setting up, they can have their HQ in one a major city, and then for cost purposes, they can relocate to another place or set up another office in another part of the country. So,
Absolutely correct.
yeah, going on that on that same note, are you aware, or can you maybe share with us, what are some of the favorable government policies, especially for foreign companies that are looking to set up in India, typically for like any government grants, incentives, or tax exemption that we can all look out for when we set up operations in India?
Surely. So typically, Government of India has come out with two flagship programs, which are typically for encouraging entrepreneurship. Okay. So the first one is what we call it as Make in India initiative, which covers, 25 major manufacturing sectors, and almost all types of manufacturing companies typically gets covered under this flagship program, where, the major objective is to build world class manufacturing infrastructure and to utilize the existing talent base of India, create additional employment opportunities. And under this, what government has come up with, it gives us a single window clearances for all the major clearances which are required to set up a manufacturing unit, including even the security clearances.
mm.
And the major incentive is in the form of a tax rate. So the new manufacturing companies are taxed only at a 15% tax rate plus a surcharge and assess, which works out to effective 17% tax rate for a new manufacturing entity that gets
Which
set
is
up in
similar to
India.
Singapore.
Yeah, which
Which is
absolutely
mm,
similar to Singapore. And for service industries, typically, and even some part of manufacturing gets covered under the Startup India program, which is another government program, which is, intended to build a strong ecosystem for innovation and entrepreneurship, and, provide to eligible startup lots of benefits and tax exemptions typically. So the major benefit in this is that a eligible startup company gets a 3 consecutive years income tax exemption, from from the first 10 years of the incorporation, the startup can select any 3 years, which wherein their profits are completely tax free.
Oh, so the company can choose any 3 years out of the first 10 years.
First 10 years, yes.
Oh, that's amazing actually.
That's a huge benefit. And not only that, even for the investors in startup, they typically in India we have a capital gain on selling of shares, but the capital gain exemption is available for selling investments. They are tax exempted for in a startup company, in a startup enterprise.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, so not only profits, even the capital gains are exempted, so which is a huge benefit. Apart from that, there are government grants which is in the form of a credit linked capital subsidy available for various sectors, and there are specific sector specific grants also available for various business entities. To just give an example, say for food. So for food, there is a huge government grant which can go as high as 50 million Indian rupees, which the government reimburses in the form of a capital subsidy. So if anybody wants to set up a manufacturing entity in food industry, it's available. So this is just an example. So like this, for various sectors, there are lots of capital subsidies available. And for MSME units, there are certain specific privileges which they enjoy over a large manufacturing unit, in terms of they have a very, very low rate of interest from bank loans if at all they borrow. They have a lot of protectionist measures for MSME unit, and government business. There is reservations for MSME units, etc.
Thank you, Amit. So all these incentives and exemptions are available throughout the country, no matter where the
Absolutely.
company is being incorporated?
So there are central benefits and there are state benefits. So India has about 26 states. So there are dual benefits, one which flows from the central government
I see.
and another one which is state specific. Lots of incentives are available.
Great, thanks, Amit. I think all of us now are very excited to hear that we have so many benefits that can actually encourage investors to actually start up business in India. Can you just share with us? Now a lot of us may be interested to for example set up footprint or start going into India. What is the setup process, and what is the most common form of business entity setup that you have in India that will be most attractive?
Surely. So typically, there are 5 to 6 options in which somebody in the foreign country can set up the business in India. So they can first initially start up with a representative office and just test the markets. They can open up a branch office, but branch office again is not a very tax efficient structure.
Yeah.
So most of them end up setting up their private limited companies or maybe a limited company. There is one very innovative structure available in India, what is called as a limited liability partnership firm, which is also available for foreign companies to set up their businesses in an LLP structure. But having said that, since the tax rates of companies are the lowest, most of them end up, the preferred way of entering into India is through a private limited company. And as I said, the new manufacturing entity is only 15% tax rate, and for others it is only a 25% tax rate. So people end up setting up their private limited companies. And for setting up a private limited company, it's about a 15-day process, and 100% foreign ownership is permissible in most of the sectors. There are few sensitive and regulated sectors where there are certain thresholds for ownership, like say insurance or banking and real estate and so on and so forth.
So mainly very highly regulated industries.
Yes. But apart from that, 100% foreign shareholding is permissible. Minimum 2 shareholders are required, and minimum 2 directors are required, out of which one of them has to be a resident director to incorporate a private limited company. Also, I would add here that there is no minimum capital requirement. The capital could be, as low as 100,000 Indian rupees. But yes, you need to have a registered office address in India to set up a private limited company.
Thank you, Amit. So I think we have discussed quite a few major key points today, Elton and Amit. Thanks for that. And thanks to everybody for listening in again to InCorp's Pro Business podcast series. Do stay tuned for our next episode where we'll be focusing on more countries in the coming days and weeks. So thank you very much, guys. Thanks for listening in again. Amit, Elton, thank you very much.
Thank you. Hope you find the session
Thank you.
informative. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you.